In the heart of BU lies Sargent, a college full of bright young minds. It is here that we find the DPT cohort, dressed in their finest athletic apparel, and occasionally seen distracting other students with the inability to sit still while studying. It is not difficult to pick these individuals out from a crowd of students. As we know, within any thriving ecosystem, diversity is key. Even in these like-minded individuals, we can start to identify some traits that might help set each of them apart. The first type of student we will be looking at today are the enthused ones, always eager to learn and ready with a question. These individuals have one of the fastest hands on the East Coast. You can be sure they've read all the assigned readings. They're the reason why you no longer need to slouch and avert your gaze when the professor asks a question to the class. However, their enthusiasm may sometimes be a little too much. Everything seems to be a contest with these individuals, and when I say anything, I mean anything. Contrastingly, we have our wary students. These individuals have had just a string of bad luck, and things have not been going their way ever since. Tired and jaded as they look over to their over-enthusiastic counterparts, they ponder to themselves, what happened? They used to be just like them, excited, eager, and full of life. Maybe it's the amount of non-evidence-based practice they had to endure. Maybe it's the 20 over patients they had to see daily during their clinicals. Whatever it is, they're ready to move on to greener pastures. After all, C's get degrees, am I right? But we're on the subject of indifference. A third group comprises of our carefree students. Or equally as unconcerned as the previous group, these individuals are, however, full of life. Maybe too much life, in fact. A quick glimpse into their day makes you both impressed and confused at the same time. How are they always at the next big event in Boston, despite the overwhelming workload? I guess some things in life will just always remain a mystery. A distant cousin to the carefree students, we're the oblivious ones. Unlike their carefree counterparts, who somehow manages to still have everything in order, these individuals are always living on life's edge. Deadlines? Exam dates? Never heard of them. They live by their own rules, true rebels against the system that conforms them to the norm, albeit unknowingly. Life to these individuals is a never-ending game of chance. And these individuals are here to play. If our carefree students are akin to the mystery genre, the next group we have could be compared to that of an adrenaline-packed thriller, the overstressed ones. No amount of studying will ever be enough for them. When you look into the open lab slots, you realize that they've already booked 90% of all slots. As the stakes start building up, and the climactic exam period rolls around, like any good thriller, they simply vanish. One could compare such a disappearing act to that of David Fincher's psychological thriller cult classic, Gone Girl. And as the suspense gradually dies down, they reappear again, as if nothing had happened. Our next category falls within the realm of food, the snagger. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-hour lecture or a 1-hour discussion. anytime class begins, food will magically appear from their bags. Just when you think that's all they have, they subvert your expectations like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Does the supernatural really exist? Or do they have some kind of shrinking tech? We may never know. On the other hand, we have our caffeine addicts. At some point in their life, being caffeinated stops being a choice. It's a necessity. Often you find these individuals with some form of caffeine in their hands. If you listen closely, you may catch one cracking open a Celsius during the quiet moments of either lectures or exams. Last but not least, we have Simon. PT school is tough, and we're often required to pull all-nighters. But nobody seems to pull more all-nighters than this man right here. Nobody knows why he's tired. Nobody questions it at this point. Maybe we're just too afraid to ask. All we know is that nothing seems to stop this man from getting his rest. And I mean nothing. To quote Hamlet, "Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest." At the end of the day, while these stereotypes exist, the reality is that in some strange way, shape, or form, these all reflect a small part of us, to varying degrees. There are days which we feel like we can take on the world. There are days in which we may feel like the weight of the world is on our backs. And there are some days when all we want is a snack. Truth is, we are as diverse as they come. Our unique quirks, talents, are what makes each and every cohort so interesting.